There are many awesome moments in Warhammer 40k, but one of my favorite has got to be also one of the most simple. This is a short excerpt from Red Tithe, one of my favorite books, because it is also where my love for the carcharodons starts. Bail Sharr, the captain of the carcharodons' third company, feels the entire weight of his chapter on his shoulders in the middle of fighting the Night Lords. This happens midway through the book, so I'm gonna do my best to set the scene before what is, in my opinion, one of the most solemn moments of unity and brotherhood that can be expressed by the brothers of the Carcharodon Astra. So, let's set the scene. The Carcharodons are on the prison planet of Zartak, which is used to mine adamantium in typical Imperium of Man fashion, with old-school slave labor and especially child labor. They are here to take what's called a Red Tithe, where they will kidnap all of the young male prisoners from the planet to forcefully recruit them into the chapter. The chapter librarian is also after a specific child because he has great psychic potential, but that's something for another day. Anyway, the situation is that shit has hit the fan in the worst possible way, because the Night Lords have gotten to the planet first. They have been able to take control of all the prison and mining facilities, which are like gigantic shafts that go deep into the planet and are part of a maze of claustrophobic hallways and massive clearings that are filled with tons of spaces for ambushes and traps. The two sides have had to fight sort of cat and mouse games against each other, and it's been pissing off both the loyalists and the traitors royally. The Night Lords are annoyed because the space sharks aren't taking the bait and falling for all their traps like normal loyalist marines. But the space sharks are frustrated because they need to kill the Night Lords while also keeping enough of the prisoners alive for recruitment into the chapter. This is more difficult than it sounds because the Night Lords are doing crazy things like releasing surges of the prisoners into the path of the Carcharodons, with chaos cultists hidden in the mix, and they are strapped with explosive charges. The tension is building, and the Carcharodons need to act as both sides circle each other for the final conflict. The biggest asset the Carcharodons have is a squad of the Red Brethren, elite terminators of the First Company, led by Brother Kahu, and were able to kill a bunch of Night Lords, but they got ambushed and killed by warp talons. With one of their greatest assets dead, it all falls to Bail Sharr, our main character, to either save the future of his chapter or have everyone die to the last man. This is Bail Sharr's first mission, taking on the new role since his predecessor, Captain Akia, was killed by Tyranids in a recent battle. He was also appointed Reaper Prime, which is a special title for someone who leads a Red Tithe in the chapter. He's in charge of getting as many recruits as possible to bolster the chapter's numbers, as they don't have the normal recruitment of other Space Marine chapters. Feeling the weight of responsibilities and unsure of himself, he prays, but it's a different kind of prayer. Nomadic and primal. It's chilling but inspiring to see his thoughts and then have his faith restored with the help of the chief librarian, Te Kahurangi. So now that you know the details, let's get stuck into it. On their way into the chamber, the first squad passed a working chapel, a thing of bare necessities, a tiny chamber carved into the rock of the tunnel wall. Bail Sharr crouched as he entered the chapel. Inside, a dozen lumen sticks were the only source of light, set on either side of the effigy that had been carved into the wall. A crude representation of an armored man with a featureless head surrounded by carved lines representing a radiant glow. He stood with a sword planted atop an orb that was doubtless meant to represent holy terror. Sharr went down on both knees before the image, lowering himself slowly. His power armor's servos whirred and his knee plates grated where they met the bare rock of the chapel floor. He made the sign of the Aquila across his breastplate before looking up. The Emperor. To the miserable convicts of Zartak, a distant, uncaring god on a planet none of them would ever see. To the Adeptus Astartes, the great primogenitor and the mightiest leader mankind would ever know. To the carcharodons Astra, he was Rangu, the Void Father, sire of the Forgotten One. Like the carcharodons, his vigilance was eternal, a beacon in the night and bane of the encroaching shadows. Sharr's chapter had left humanity for the emptiness of the outer dark when he had still walked among mortals, and they would not return until he did so once again. Only with the coming of the Forgotten One could the edicts of exile be overturned, and the chapter's eternal crusade in the darkness be brought to an end. The Carcharodon Astra were a faithful brotherhood, even by the standards of the Adeptus Astartes. Their creed was an ancient one, older than the superstitions and misbeliefs of the current imperial cult. Theirs was not some blind faith based on hollow praise and lavish donations. Their memories of the Emperor were of a living, breathing titan, and terror was far more to them than some distant hub of galaxy-spanning bureaucracy. Their connection to it was ancient and primal. It had sustained their loyalty and their determination for 10,000 years amidst the loneliness of the outer dark. When they had first been banished, none had expected them to survive, let alone remain united as a chapter. But survive they had, their disparate heritage bound by their faith in him on Earth. Nothing could shake that. I have not seen you at prayer since you became company master, Te Kahurangi echoed. It was unclear if he was speaking directly into Sharr's mind or physically. Sharr resisted the urge to react, keeping his gaze fixed on the image of Rangu. I prefer to speak to the Void Father in private. You prefer to confront your memories of this world alone, Te Kahurangi said. My memories mean nothing. The solace of silence is a blessing. It is, the chief librarian admitted. It still distressed Chaplain Nikora that we worship privately even after all these years. I suppose it is harder for the initiates to understand the depth of our chapter's doctrines if its veterans so rarely appear at the devotional services. They will learn in time, Sharr said. Solitary contemplation offers the best opportunity to revelation. Chapter 3, verse 11, Te Kahurangi echoed, aware the company master was quoting Beyond the Veil of Stars, one of the foundational texts written by the Shade Master during the first days of exile. What do they intend for the boy? Sharr asked, eyes not leaving Rangu. The worst fate imaginable. They will use him as a conduit to channel the demon that the dead skin serves, their chaos sorcerer. The creatures of darkness here already infest these minds, and they cloud my vision. You have seen the fate of Kahu? I have. What killed them, pale nomad? Things that once counted themselves as our brothers, Te Kahurangi said. Twisted and deformed in body and mind by the dark powers. They are more beasts now than transhumans. They are loosed upon us like hunting animals. The Void Father alone knows what manner of vile pacts these traitors have wrought, Sharr said. It is ever the same with the worshippers of the dark gods, but we have overcome their kind before, and we will do so again. Not if the dead skin completes his ritual, Te Kahurangi warned. If his demon is bound to the mortal plane, even I will not be able to stop him. They are stalking us, Te Kahurangi said. And we are stalking them back, Sharr replied. Like two predators, we are poised on the brink of the final offensive. Sink Shaft 1 is almost within our grasp. Brother, we can end this fight. For better or for worse, Kahu locked us into this course of action. Was it truly Kahu? Sharr said slowly. Should I not have overruled him if I thought this plan was ill-conceived? I am failing the chapter and the Void Father, Chief Librarian. If you truly believe that, then you will, Te Kahurangi said. But you have not failed them. Not yet. Do not allow your imagination to become reality. Defeat is currently only in your mind. Akia's bloodthirstiness has consumed me, Sharr admitted, finally rising. A part of me was eager to follow Kahu's course of action. That is the truth of why I did not overrule him. It is Akia's bloody spirit that haunts me, not my memories of Zartak. They are long lost. There was a crack as Te Kahurangi struck the stone floor with the base of his force staff. Akia is not the master of Third Company. Kahu is not the master of Third Company. Even Lord Tyberos is not the master of Third Company. It is you, Bail Sharr. It is to your credit if we succeed here, and to your dishonor if we are defeated. None but you can be held accountable. Regardless of the outcome of this tithing, That is the weight of the duty you took on when you swore your new void vows, both as the master of this company and as the chapter's new Reaper Prime. It is your sacred duty to see the tithe through. The darkness arrayed against us would break you while you struggle to uphold your new burden. Will you let it? Sharr turned to Te Kahurangi. He filled the chapel, his grey, black, and brass armor gleaming in the flickering light of the little lumen sticks. For a moment, he stared at the blue-plated chief librarian, saying nothing. For a moment, he could have been Archaea, on the brink of a bloody outburst. These traitors have avoided trial for too long, he said. Their sentence is overdue. I will render judgment, and the third company will be my axe of execution. So normally I would end the video at this point, but one of the things I love about this book is that you see the effects of moments like this later in the story. So skipping forward a few chapters, the veteran squad is about to go into the final fight, but they're restless, they're talking amongst each other, they're all over the place, and then this happens. Bail Sharr said nothing, but glanced sidelong at Chaplain Nikora. The ancient, black-armored warrior seemed unaffected by the restlessness that gripped the other veteran carcharodons. He stood tall and firm in his pitch, quietly reciting the third litany of readiness over the internal squad vox. The flowing high Gothic words brought back the memory of Sharr's visit to the mine chapel outside the sifting chamber, and the words Te Kahurangi had spoken to him there. The darkness arrayed against us would break you while you struggle to uphold your new burden. Will you let it? No, he would not. He would banish it, the way he had banished Archaea's lingering bloody spectre. He began to join in Nikora's litany, quiet yet firm, breathing the words of loyalty and dedication, words the carcharodons had brought with them and spoken into the void alone for 10 millennia. One by one, the rest of First Squad abandoned their conversation and joined in. One by one, their restless postures began to calm. They were the judges. They were the reapers. From the outer dark they came, and when the Red Tithe was done, darkness there and nothing more. I just love moments like that so much. I couldn't not add that last snippet in where everything goes full circle. So I hope you all enjoyed it, and I do want to continue to make more Carcharodon videos because I feel as if a lot of people know of them vaguely, but not a lot of people know the specifics about them and their lore and background. And I've been through all of the Carcharodon stuff, so I do want to make more of that, and please let me know if you want those kinds of videos. But that's pretty much about it from me. So if you enjoyed what you saw and heard today, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. But I will catch you all on the next one. I've been Kiv, and I'm out.